Israel continues to pound Gaza, increasing airstrikes and sealing it off from food, fuel, and other supplies. Online, the disinformation around the war is spreading fast and wide.
A new officer in charge for the Ltfrb takes over after the chairman was suspended over corruption allegations.
And aside from the Office of the Vice President and the Education Department, 3 other executive agencies are stripped of their confidential funds.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina.
I'm Gretchen.
And I'm Shawn.
Straight into our big story for tonight, and still on the war between Israel and Hamas. Earlier today, Israel announced that it has regained control of the Gaza border after another night of continuous airstrikes in the area. Israel's latest round of airstrikes came after Hamas threatened to execute an Israeli captive every time Israel bombed a Palestinian home without warning. The Israeli military has since called up an unprecedented 300,000 reservists and imposed a blockade on the Gaza Strip. More than 1,500 individuals have been killed since the conflict erupted on Saturday, around 900 of which are Israelis, while at least 700 are Palestinians, according to official estimates from both sides. Hospitals in Gaza are overwhelmed. Al Jazeera is reporting that doctors have told them that they're running out of supplies and may soon need to completely shut down. In a statement, Israeli Army Chief Herzi Halevi said that Israel's army is attacking, pursuing, and harming anyone who took part, and that he expects days of long, complex fighting to come.
The state of Israel and the IDF are now responding to a criminal and cruel attack by Hamas, the intrusion of terrorists into the private homes of civilians from the Gaza Strip and the taking of women and children. This is murderous terrorism. Therefore, we are attacking, pursuing, and harming anyone who took part in it. And that's how we'll continue.
The global response to Hamas's surprising attack in southern Israel and Israel's subsequent airstrikes in Gaza has highlighted a big divide. In Western countries, Hamas is being held responsible for a, quote, terrorist attack. Statements from the United States, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Italy, and France also underscored Israel's right to self-defense. On the other hand, Russia, China, Turkey, the African Union, and the United Arab Emirates have urged de-escalation and a quick return to internationally supported peace negotiations. And as the conflict between the two sides escalate, experts are now beginning to worry about fuel prices skyrocketing, as well as the impact on inflation and growth. Just today, the IMF warned that the global economy has lost momentum from the impact of the war in Ukraine, geopolitical rifts, and now, fresh tensions in the Middle East. In Morocco right now for the World Bank IMF annual meetings, IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourinchas said that the global economy is limping along, not sprinting. And in light of the volatility in the Middle East, Malacanang has recommended the indefinite halt of all travel from the Philippines to Israel, at least until the situation stabilizes. The Philippine Embassy in Israel has likewise discouraged pilgrimage tours for the moment.
We're not telling you not to go, but we're advising you it's best, if possible, to postpone them until we're absolutely sure that the hostilities have ended. Because, after all, even the Prime Minister of Israel has said that we're in a state of war.
As the death toll from the Israeli-Hamas conflict rises, Philippine officials have yet to confirm whether there are Pinoys included in the fatalities. Philippine department heads said they continue to work with Israeli counterparts in verifying information. But for now, what's for certain is that 6 Filipinos are missing. One of the 7 reported missing yesterday has been found. The DFA is also verifying reports of a Filipino fatality in the 3-day-old war.
We cannot confirm that because we do not want to to confirm anything without being 100% sure of the facts.
On the matter of repatriation, the DFA said that there has been no request from OFWs in Israel, while there are at least 38 requests from Filipinos staying in Gaza.
Karamihan natin mga kababayan are in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or Haifa, further up north. wala pang nagpaparinig, wala pa nagsasabi na gusto nilang ma-repatriate. This situation between the Hamas and the Israeli authorities is sadly a cyclical thing, which our kababayans are well aware of. The situation is different in Gaza, in Palestine, where you have about 137 Filipinos. They're not OFWs. They are Filipino family members. They are Filipinas married to Palestinians, and some of the 137 are their minor children, so they are also Philippine nationals.
Now, the Philippine government has also put OFW deployment to Israel on hold, except for hotel workers who fall under a government-to-government hiring scheme.
Right now, deployment is on hold. There's a government-to-government hiring arrangement in partnership with the Israeli labor and immigration authorities, especially with respect to hotel workers. So we are in close coordination with the Israeli PIBA, that's the name of the government agency counterpart that we have. And at the proper time, deployment will resume.
Let's now get an update on the OFW allegedly abducted by Hamas militants. We have mobile journalist Francis Orsio for some updates. Francis, what do you have for us?
Reg, OWA has taken into custody the wife of the OFW who was allegedly abducted in Israel. Migrant worker Galionor Pacheco is one of the missing Pinoys there. OWA said that his wife Clarice will receive psychosocial assistance to help process the trauma. Amid the ongoing conflict, authorities appeal to the public to refrain from sharing unverified information, which could only affect search operations.
Most of the reports that you get, we also get them. But we are very, very careful as to what we will tell the media. Kasi katulad po ng mga nauna ng mga reports, upon verification, hindi naman po totoo.
We don't want to be alarmist. Yes, it's true na may missing Filipinos, pero it's possible they're still in the bunkers. Remember, it's a security situation. So in case they were abducted, we don't want, all the more, we don't want to give details because that will endanger their lives.
Reg, the DFA, OWA, and the DMW insist that they are coordinating closely with the Israeli government in verifying reports and ensuring the safety of all Filipinos caught in the war zone. Reg?
All right, thanks for that update, Francis Orsio.
After this quick break, Ltfrb Chairman Teofilo Guades III was suspended by the President for alleged corruption. Is there any truth to this? We'll be speaking to Mar Valbuena, Chairman of Transport Group Manibela, about the issue. Stay with us.
So watching the big story here on One News. A new officer in charge for the Ltfrb has been named. Transport Secretary Jaime Bautista appointed Mercy Paras-Lenes, a current Ltfrb board member, to the position. His memo indicated that Lenes' appointment will be in effect from today, October 10, to October 9, 2024. This comes just a day after President Bongbong Marcos suspended Ltfrb Chief Teofilo Guadis III over alleged corruption. These allegations were made by his former executive assistant, Jeffrey Tumbado, who claims that millions in pesos were exchanged for the approval of franchises, provisional authority, or the securing of routes and special permits in the Ltfrb. Tumbado says these transactions are even rampant in regional offices.
Kapag ikaw operator ka, gusto mong makuha itong daan na ito, lalo na sa probinsya, magre-request ka, modification of route. Tapos, kung gusto mong mapadali, gusto mong mapasa iyan, kahit hindi pwede, hanapin mo ako. Tapos, yun na. Halos araw-araw, ako ang binubulungan. But then, nililinaw ko, walang nanghihingi, kundi may naglalagay.
But Tumbado did acknowledge that Guadis may not have been the one who benefited from the grease money.
Start tayo sa Ltfrb to Malacanang. Yes.
Total malaki rin ang Malacanang.
And Secretary?
Malacanang hanggang Office of the President ba? To the Office of the President ba?
Na-file ko yung case, makikita niyo kung sino respondent dun. I believe victim din to si Chairman. Biktima rin. Dahil may instruction daw from higher up.
At ito, pakinggan naman natin ang sinabi ni Guadis sa mga paratang na yan.
Wala po akong alam. As of this morning, nasa office po naman ako. Wala pa po akong nalalaman na ganyan. Pero kung meron man po, haharapin naman po natin. Malinis po ang ating kalooban.
The Presidential Communications Office said in a statement that Marcos does not tolerate any misconduct in his administration and that he has instructed the immediate investigation of this matter. PCO said the president strongly condemns dishonesty and duplicity in public service. Guadis has yet to comment on his suspension, but for Tumbado, the president's decision is saddening, saying he said that the administration lost a bright leader. Tumbado also expressed fear over his security, claiming that he has been red-tagged and harassed since his revelation. The Liga
ng Transportasyon at Operators sa Pilipinas, or LTOP, has a different take on this. It says this is only a demolition job directed at Guadis and claims that Tumbado is only covering up his own illegal activities. They say that even their own members have previously had illegal transactions with Tumbado.
Nagtatawaran sila doon sa hinihingi niya rin na 1 milyon para lang ilabas yung prangkisa na nasuspindido dyan sa Ltfrb ng premium taxi.
Right, we have with us tonight Manibela Chairman Mar Valbuena to help us dig deeper into these corruption claims against Guadis and the Ltfrb. Mar, magandang gabi at salamat sa pagpaunlak. Kailan nyo pinlano, unang-una, itong press con kanina? Medyo nabulaga lahat sa mga aligasyon na ginawa ni Sir Jeffrey Tumbado. How did that come to light?
Good evening po muna, Ma'am Tons. Good evening po, Ma'am Gretchen and Ma'am Reg. Good evening po. Actually, July pa nung sinabihan niya po ako na mag-ready, may pasasapugin siya. Yun po yung mga sinasabi niya sa akin. Siyempre, nagdududa ako baka ganti ito sa akin dun sa mga nakaraang strikes po. Kaya sabi ko, maglabas ka ng ebidensya kung gusto mong mag-usap tayo. Yun po yung sinasabi ko sa kanya. Kasi kaya may numero naman ako sa kanya kasi pagka may meeting kami sa Ltfrb, nakikipag-coordinate din naman po ako sa kanya. Pero siyempre, yung duda po talaga noon, hindi ko rin po maalis. Pero until such time na binato niya sa akin yung mga ebidensya.
Linawin muna natin, Mar, sa pagkakaalam mo, sa grupo ninyo, sa Manibela, ang laki-laki ng grupo ninyo, meron bang nakipag-deal kay Jeffrey Tumbado?
Ma'am, may marami pong lumapit sa akin na meron silang nagpunta muna sila kay chairman, ganyan. Nakipag-usap and then sumunod po may mga ganun ng transaksyon. Actually, yung mga nagbigay, may mga lumapit po talaga sa akin na nagbigay sila hanggang ngayon, walang resulta po dun sa mga napag-usapan po nila.
Sorry, what do you mean nagbigay? Can you clarify that, please?
Nagbigay daw po ng parang grease money o padulas at may mga dokumento po na pinakita sa akin na meron silang mga transaksyon. Sabi ko, mas mabuti kung kayo magsasalita o magpa-file na itong kaso na to.
Was this before, Mar? Before Monday or after na nung press con, tsaka sila lumapit sa'yo? Or alam mo na before pa nung press con?
Actually, ma'am, mid-September pa nung nalaman ko kasi nagkasakit ako ng buong August kaya hindi ako nakalabas at nung okay na, nagkita-kita po kami.
Sorry, anong klaseng proof ang nakita mo? I mean, if these are illegal transactions.
Sa akin, yung usapan nila ng mga lawyer na actually may mga lawyer din sa labas na nag-withdraw ng pera, binigay yung mga pera sa ganitong tao, sa premium taxi. Yung binabanggit po kanina ni Calando Marquez, hindi ko rin alam kung paano niya nalaman yun, no? Tinanong sana natin paano niya nalaman, baka kasama din siya doon.
Hindi, sorry Mar, what I mean is...
po yun eh.
Sorry, wait.
Yung grupo na yun.
Yeah, what I mean is, anong klaseng documents are you talking about? Are you talking about, ano to, mga ATM receipts, screenshots? Ano yung nakita mo?
Mga chat po at saka po yung kung paano po ni-receive yung pera, paano withdraw at paano nakarating po doon sa Ltfrb.
Okay, sinabi mo kasi Mar, no, na magpa-file kayo ng kaso, meaning Manibela and Jeffrey Tumbado. Meaning, naniniwala ka sa mga alegasyon na sinabi niya? Kasi sa press con niyo po niya ibinunyag ito lahat. So, damay-damay na po lahat. Meaning, you're ready to stand by him in filing cases.
Hindi ako lalabas kung yung ebidensya niya, hindi ko siya sasamahan kung yung ebidensya niya ay hindi po matibay. Kasi may mga audio recordings, may mga screenshots ng usapan at yung mga taong nagpatotoo na nagbigay po sila. Yung mga group po na to ng transport na mga cooperatives or corporation, lumapit po talaga sila sa akin. Sabi nila sa akin, bago pa kami mapatay, ibigay ko na sa iyo tong mga dokumento na to.
Okay. Mar, sinabi ni Mr. Tumbado nalulungkot daw siya dahil nasuspindi si Guadis. What do you make of this? And sinasabi niya, tinuturo pa niya na may higher-ups daw, umaabot pa ng Malacanang. Yung ebidensya ba ay malakas? Tinuturo din yung mga higher-ups na yon?
Ma'am Gretchen, siguro ang sinasabi niya na kaya siya nalulungkot kasi nga yung amo niya, yung boss niya dati ay biktima lang din. Ang sinasabi niya kahapon na parang napag-utusan lang nung higher-ups na dapat may monthly na ganito. Hindi ko na masyadong matandaan yung sinabi niya kahapon. Baka medyo ma-mislead lang po tayo.
So may mga
basta sinasabi niya,
ba? May mga
biktima
pangalan?
lang din siya dito.
May pangalan po ba nung higher-ups na yon?
Actually, ma'am, sabi niya, basta pinakamataas na dun sa DOTR, sino pa po ba ito?
Okay.
Nasa DOTR. So, kung higher ups po yan, kung mga nasa ganong level po, naiisip po natin. Kasi sabi niya kanina sa akin, wag na muna natin isabi at i-file na muna natin nga yung kaso. Kaya lang po, dapat kahapon po yung filing bago po yung, naka-ready na po siya naka-ready na po talaga yung kaso. Ang nangyari lamang po, may mga, nung naglabas kami ng press release nung Saturday, ng media advisory, may mga humabol. Actually, kanina po, pati yung mga nasa TNBS ay tumawag po sa akin at gusto magpa-press con ulit at ilabas itong mga anomalya din ito na siguro pinagdaanan nila.
Alright, Mar, so para lang malinaw, no, sa pagkakaalam mo, ang mga complaints na nakita mo with proof, galing sa mga other transport operators din. Hindi pruweba galing kay Mr. Tumbado pointing to higher ups. Yun, wala kang nakita for sure na nagtuturo
Ma'am Shawn,
pataas. Oo.
Ma'am Shawn, opo. Ang nangyari po, iba pa yung galing kay Mr. Tumbado and iba pa yung galing doon sa mga transport group o cooperatives. At kapag ka pinagsama mo siya, nagtutugma po yung sinasabi nila. Actually, nakipag-meeting po ako ng hiwalay doon sa mga transport groups na ito. At iba rin po, hiwalay din po yung kay Mr. Tumbado.
Paano po kaya nangyayaring korupsyon? Parang network po ba ito? Involved ba? Parang may mga congressmen din daw. Tama ba yun? Tapos sinasabi hanggang regional offices. Maaari mo bang maipaliwanag sa amin kung paano gumagalaw?
Yung kwento ko lang siguro yung narrative niya kahapon. Siyempre medyo mahirap po sa part ko dahil hindi naman po ako yung first hand. Siya po kasi yung first hand nito. Siyempre, ayon sa kanya ay di umano, ay mula po ito sa mga regional director, lahat ng regional director, kung 13 regions plus yung mga autonomous region o 17 na regions po ito, ma'am. Kung milyones po ito, isipin niyo po kung gaano kalaking pera yan. At syempre, idadala ito doon sa, ang sabi niya kahapon doon sa presscon, may pagbibigyan nito, tapos dadalhin din doon sa higher ups. At ang sabi niya, hanggang doon po sa Malacanang.
Alright, Mar, sabihin na natin, no, ang tagal-tagal ng napakaraming corruption allegations against Ltfrb. Bakit ngayon? Bakit ngayon nagsisilabasan lahat? Lahat na ang dami palang may ebidensya dyan. May kinalaman ba to doon sa transport strike nyo na slated for October 16? Yes.
Ma'am Shawn, ganito po, noon pang mga nakaraan, sinabi ko na sa kanila yan. Actually, may mga sulat nga ako, kaya nga kami nag-strike nung SONA. Bakit hindi ina-actionan yung mga complaints nitong mga kasamahan natin? Wala, as in, wala, hindi po gumalaw yung papel. Gumalaw na lang po yun nung nagtawag na ulit ako ng transport strike. Kung bakit po ngayon? Kasi yung pong nagsalita, galing na mismo sa Ltfrb. First time din po ito na sa tingin ko na meron din galing sa Ltfrb. Dati po, wala kasing nagre-react na galing sa Ltfrb. Ngayon po ito, galing po mismo sa Ltfrb at take note, executive assistant niya po ito. Kung maalala po natin, nung panahon ni PRRD, former President Duterte, meron pong convicted na, kung di ako nagkakamali, kung di siya board member, executive director siya po dati, na-entrap po ng kung di ako nagkakamali, NBI po.
Hey, Mark,
po ba
yung
si Mr.
strike nyo
Hardin?
next week, gaano katagal yon? At kailan nyo pinaplano?
Yung strike po, hindi dahil nagkasa kami ng strike. Hinugot po yung strike dahil dito sa akusasyon ng aligasyon ng korupsyon. So doon ko kami humugot ng lakas na kaya po pala kami laging binibigyan ng deadline, hindi matapos-tapos na deadline kasi ito po yung gumigipit sa amin para mapilitan kaming mag-modernize. Katulad po niyan, yung mga lumapit po na yan na siyempre deadline na, mawawalan ka na ng hanap buhay.
So bali kailan po,
makikiusap ka ngayon.
Mar, kailan ang strike na binabalak ninyo at gaano katagal?
Ang pinaplano po namin, Ma'am Gretchen, next week, October 16, pero ito pong strike na to, talaga pong protesta sa harapan ng Ltfrb, ng DOTR kung makakarating kami doon. Pero siyempre, pinaka-importante po na makarating kami ng Malacanang. Lahat po ng mga jeepney na nandito sa NCR, magsasama-sama po kami sa Malacanang. Hindi po namin alam kung gaano katagal ito. Siguro hanggat hindi kami mapakinggan ng ating Pangulo. Kaya doon na kami bubusina siguro at magsasalita.
Saglit
And then
lang, no? Kasi
simultaneously sa mga regional franchising regulatory office po sa mga probinsya, meron din pong mga strike centers po na magaganap.
Alright, maraming salamat po sa oras nyo ngayong gabi. Manibela Chairman Mar Valbuena. Thank you, sir. Another quick break for now. Right after that, a House panel has decided to strip at least 5 agencies of confidential funds, including those led by the President and the Vice President. More on that when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The House of Representatives has removed the confidential funds of 5 agencies under the proposed 5.768 trillion peso budget for next year. Of course, one of the most talked about CIFs in the initial budget proposal is that of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. However, Congress has now decided to remove the agency's confidential funds, which combined amounted to 650 million pesos. Confidential funds will also be removed from the Department of Agriculture, Department of Foreign Affairs, and the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The total amount removed from these confidential fund requests, about 1.2 billion pesos. This decision was made by the small committee in the House of Representatives for amendments to the proposed 2024 national budget. In total, from the requested 4.864 billion pesos in confi funds, this was reduced and changed to 3.664 billion pesos. Of course, that's still a big amount. The reallocated confi funds were given to NICA, or the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, the National Security Council, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Department of Transportation for the airport expansion on Pag-asa Island. Now, instead of confi funds, the BFAR, DICT, DFA, the Ombudsman and DepEd will still receive funding for maintenance and other operating expenses, which will now be auditable.
Ang naging thinking kasi namin is anong mandato ng ahensya. Okay? And dun sa pag-perform ng mandato, kung hindi naman kailangan talaga gumawa ng surveillance at pwede namang gumamit ng MOE na ibig sabihin auditable naman ang expenses na yan.
Now that the House has made its decision on the confidential fund requests of the OVP and DepEd under Vice President Sara Duterte, how will this fare in the Senate? Let's find out from mobile journalist Julie Baiza. Julie, tell us more.
Gretchen, according to House Committee on Appropriations Senior Vice Chairperson Stella Kimbo, the move to strip the 5 agencies of their confidential funds was made through a unanimous decision of the small committee. Part of that small committee are Appropriations Panel Chairman Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico, House Majority Leader Zamboanga City 2nd District Representative Manix Dalipe, and House Minority Leader 4-Piece Party List Representative Marcelino Libanan. COA said that they would uphold changes when facing the bicameral conference committee meeting with the Senate in December. On October 25, the House of Representatives is scheduled to submit a copy of the 2024 budget bill to the Senate. Gretchen?
All right, thanks for that, Julie Baiza.
Right. Right, here's another update. The Education Department has suspended the teacher from Antipolo, accused of slapping a student who eventually died. The suspension will be in effect for 90 days. It was implemented as a preventive measure while the investigation on the student's death is ongoing. But the group Teachers Dignity Coalition is protesting this move, saying that the DepEd was too swift in ordering the suspension of the teacher when the fact-finding process only began on October 6. The group clarifies, though, that they do not condone the teacher's actions on the student.
Ang hinihingi namin sa DepEd rito yung compassion eh. Hinihingi namin yung maging considerate no doon sa kalagayan ng teacher. Hindi naman ito tatakas no doon sa kaso na ibinibintang sa kanya no. Bakit kinakailangan i-suspend kaagad?
In fact, today was the deadline set by Vice President Sara Duterte for the PNP to finish its fact-finding investigation. Results of this will determine the charges that will be filed against the teacher.
Kailangan po talaga nating intayin po yung official results po na isinagawa po ng medical legal team po ng forensic group because that will be the basis po kung ano po ba talagang isasampa natin. If there will be requests on the part of the DepEd po, the PNP will provide the necessary document once lumabas po yung result po ng medical legal examination. But initially, we could provide them updates that yung autopsy examination is almost done. However, just like what the doctor has explained earlier po na iniintay po nila at magsasagawa po sila ng histopath.
They say that in times of conflict, truth is always the first casualty. And so we are seeing that play out live in this war between Israel and Hamas. Fake social media accounts have been spreading false information about the conflict, with X and TikTok among the most affected platforms, according to disinformation specialists. For example, a verified X user, Kushnud Ali Khan, on Saturday posted a video captioned, "Breaking: Israeli Air Force is striking terror targets in Gaza." The ex-user characterized the video as a retaliatory strike on Hamas from October. In reality, though, the video showed an Israeli airstrike on the Gaza Strip that took place in May. And that's just one of many, many examples. Here to talk to us about this spread of misinformation about the Israel-Hamas war on social media, we have with us live via Zoom Professor Rachael Khan of the UP Journalism Department. She's also the project coordinator of fact-checking collaborative group Tech.ph and has studied disinformation extensively. Good evening, Professor. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Shawn, Gretchen, Regina.
All right, Professor, as I was saying not too long after the conflict broke out, social media also exploded, particularly Twitter, or X, I should say, this time of footage, very graphic footage of airstrikes and the bombardment of, Gaza, and first of Israel and then Gaza. What did you make of all of this initially?
Well, as you said, truth is the first casualty in any war. And I think the disinformation campaign was launched at the same time that the attacks were launched. It's now becoming a standard part of war. We've seen this happen in the Ukraine and Russian conflict. And so it's not surprising that this is happening here in the Israel-Hamas conflict as well.
To what end, Professor? Can you shed some light on what they are trying to achieve by doing that?
Well, there's of course there's on the one hand those that want to gain more people on their side, more sympathy on their side, and on the other hand there are those that are taking advantage of the conflict to raise their monetization of their sites, like their channels, like YouTube. So, in both cases, these are very wrong and rather heartless. But this is happening, mostly recycling videos of past conflicts. This is what we're seeing in terms of the disinformation that is going on in this particular conflict. Since they've had past conflicts, especially even during the pandemic, we're seeing rehash of this conflict. And then you have on X, or formerly called Twitter, a lot of since Twitter removed the headlines, so you're not seeing the whole picture of the entry, and it can look like any other news item, the repackaging of X has also removed several of the fact-checking elements of that social media. So we're seeing a lot of Twitter or X and Telegraph misinformation going on and being picked up by other social media sites.
Rachel, speaking of the changes on Twitter, no, when I take a look at the barrage of posts, I can't help but wonder if the Twitter space has just been liberalized by Elon Musk. Sabi niya, I want a collective of voices. Is it because of that na parang matagal na ito nangyayari, ngayon lang natin nakikita both sides, two sides of the coin? I mean, have you been studying this even a while back? What do you make of what we're seeing now? Nakikita lang ba natin to dahil nag-iba na yung dynamics sa Twitter? Matagal na ba ito nangyayari? O talagang medyo there's, you know, a deliberate, increase now of disinformation enabled by the new system?
In short, did the changes he make help amplify misinformation?
Yes, social media is helping to amplify disinformation. Disinformation is not new. We've seen it usually during elections, and not just here, but in other countries as well. The difference now is that there are a lot less in-house parameters or guards in place. This is the problem with X. They removed their department or their unit that do actively fact-checking, or they've cut it in half. And then both X and YouTube are now selling verification marks. So in the past, only respectable and respected journalists were given the check mark as a form of verification of their authenticity. But now this can be purchased by anyone with the means. And so it's created a lot of confusion, and it's created a lot of misleading sites that we think are verified, but actually they're paid verification.
Kasi ako kung ano yung sinesensor noon eh. Kasi sinasabi ni Elon na parang, you know, parang I encourage everyone to stay as close to the truth as possible. He tweeted that. Before Elon, parang it makes me wonder, you know, how were they taking down some of the posts? Like, diba? Parang
filtering.
On what grounds?
Did you study anything about that?
What we did was do our own fact checking. And basically the thing about fact checking is there are a lot of tools and techniques to check whether an image is real when it was happening. So for example, now many of the images are real, it's just that it's not happening now, it's past. So they're real videos of past events which are being labeled as current, and that's where the disinformation is happening. So we have tools to verify this as fact checkers. So there are techniques and tools being used by professional fact checkers, and there are still now independent fact checkers doing this, and that's why we know that disinformation is happening. But the in-house, those who actually are employed by X are no longer that active, or they're concentrated on English entries or English news. And so there's a lot of Arabic language disinformation that is going undetected.
Rachel, would these tools be available for the average fact checker, aka people like me, for example, or everybody? What can we do? Because we know that as Twitter or X has cut down on fact checkers, there has been a lot of outside or third-party fact checkers like yourself. But I can imagine it's parang habulan yan, and it's so impossible to...
diba?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what can we
network
do on our part, apart from not sharing? Of course, before we not share, we have to know that this is not worth sharing, but how do we know what are available to the common social media user?
Actually, in terms of doing the fact checks, I think we should just leave it to those who are trained for it. It takes sometimes as long as half a day to do a fact check. The simplest thing to do is, if you see a video on your file on your mobile phone, is to go to the actual site of the media institution. Now, there are a lot of videos that are labeled BBC but are not actually BBC or Al Jazeera. So the simplest thing to do is to go to the official Al Jazeera or official BBC channel and check, do they have this video? Is this actually a news item? And there, just by that, we will be able to tell whether that particular news item is true or not. Secondly, there is the Google Fact Check. It's a particular search engine that's available on Google that focuses on fact checks or information that had already been fact checked by one of the fact checking networks. And so it simplifies also the searching for fact check information. So these are the two very simple techniques that anybody can employ on their phones. One of the things that we also have to do is, just because it appears on our social media doesn't mean that it's true. In fact, that's the first thing that you should check. Is it an authentic news report or not?
Have that sense of doubt.
But there's also this curious phenomenon where even though X, for instance, has flagged something as misleading, people still believe it and still share it. What explains that, and how do we change that behavior?
Well, sometimes the decision is emotional. Yeah. If you're already, backing a particular side, and that particular side it's favorable to that particular side that you are siding with, then there's that sharing. And then of course there's the really those who just want to make money off it because they know that it's viral, and so if they share it, they can increase their views, which is very, very unethical. And I'm just really sad that this is happening and people are being irresponsible in their sharing. One of the things we can do, if we find out that we've shared inadvertently a false information, then we can take down that post and apologize to our viewers and say, I made a mistake. The earlier thing that I shared is not true. And, you help also the truth to prevail.
Or maybe comment down below that this is fake video after fact-checking, diba? Kasi now the posters are acting like they're breaking news. They're putting just in, breaking. So parang they're mimicking news organizations already.
And with that blue check,
oh yeah,
it's a deadly combination check, right? That you can buy apparently.
Yes, now you can buy it. That's what's so sad. Before, it was only the really established media that had it, but now you can buy it.
All right, Professor, I was just wondering, it's been a while since I was in school, like a pretty long time. Are you guys teaching something, your kids now, how to discern between fake news and real news? There wasn't much of this back then, so I'm not sure how you guys do it now.
Or should we be doing more, right?
Well, in the University of the Philippines, we've actually institutionalized the fact-checking as one of our courses. We've been offering it since 2014 or 15. So many of the fact-checkers in the institutions, in the media institutions, come from our former students. They are running a lot, for example, in Verifiles. Those are our graduates who are running the fact-checks, as well as some in Associated Press and other wire agencies. So yes, we have been teaching fact-checking for quite a while.
Well, it is an essential skill to have.
But also a thankless job. Are you getting enough interest from the students
I know,
over this?
Are enrollments going up since, have they gone up since 2015?
Does anybody want to know the truth?
We have a full slot at the moment, plus more who want to shift. And in fact, we could not accommodate all the students that wanted to shift and transfer to our program.
That's
so we're doing well.
That's good.
certainly
That's good to
very
hear.
good to
That's
hear.
really
Very- it's a whack-a-mole, but as long as you guys are there on the front lines, we're happy. All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Professor Rachael Khan of the UP Journalism Department.
Thank you.
Up next, why is Pinoy boxing legend Manny Pacquiao putting in a bid to compete for the 2024 Paris Olympics? More details on that when we return.
Welcome back. You're still watching Big Story here on One News.
They say age is just a number, and hoping to serve as an example of that is Pinoy boxing legend Manny Pacquiao, who is looking to make a return to compete in the Paris Olympics. The Philippine Olympic Committee confirmed that they've reached out to the International Olympic Committee regarding the eligibility of the 8th Division World Champion. The Olympic qualifiers has a 40-year-old age limit, though, making Pacman ineligible at 44 years old. Still, the former senator is hopeful. In a statement, he says, age is not a barrier to fulfill our dreams, and I believe that it is not too late to fulfill my dream of bringing home a boxing gold medal from the Olympics for the Philippines. Sana payagan na, no? Wala naman, they've got nothing to lose, man.
I mean, I kind of
Well,
got
at 44, she doesn't know because she's not
Yeah.
there yet.
Hindi, kasi naalala ko, pag nagko-compete sa mga, kasi dati grade 7 ako, I was competing in a high school all-girls club. But then they were contesting. Naku, grade school lang naman yan eh. Parang dito rin naman, if you think about it, if they open the age group, 40 to 45.
But this one is baliktad. This
Kaya
one
nga,
is, he's
patanda.
older.
Ibig
He's trying to
sabihin,
compete in the younger.
Parang why would the younger ones be threatened by somebody older?
Well,
what
that
I'm
somebody
sure.
happens to be Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's true.
Still
Come
no
on,
chance.
come on, give the guy a chance.
Well, actually, you know what? It would make a great story, so I'm all for that. Like, if they allow
Like
him,
Olympic
why not?
gold at 44 years old.
Why not?
I
Even
don't
just
know.
joining at 44.
That's true. I mean, I agree with him. Age
Yeah.
should not be a barrier to fulfilling our dreams, but I don't know.
It's
if
a great advocacy.
I don't know if that applies to Olympic golds.
On the other hand, you know, rules are rules.
No, I think he can make it. Come on.
It's a very
IOC, shout out to you guys.
Okay, speaking of age-related things, our big picture tonight is actually kind of related to that. He is celebrating his birthday later this month. Come on, guys, roll the photo. This is Filipino painter and revolutionist Juan Luna, whose date of birth was recently changed to October 25, 1857. The National Historical Commission issued this correction on Monday after obtaining a copy of Luna's baptismal record dated October 27, 1857, where it was stated that Luna was 3 days old when he was baptized. Before this, Luna's birthday was originally believed to be on October 23, 1857. So he's 2 years younger than we actually
2
thought.
days.
2 days younger.
Well, which is not a big difference, I guess. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would
no,
be
actually,
like-
no. Sorry, I correct myself. It's a big deal because it's a historical fact. And if we'd been believing it was 25 all along, then it's good that we corrected it.
Diba?
Yes,
Kaya
Juan
pala may
Luna
yoga
Scholar.
sa tapat ng
Ano naman connection?
Baka in celebration of the birthday this
It was
month.
actually in celebration for a National Gallery something, like some museum.
National Museum Month. Is that right?
Something like
Baka natuwa naman si Juan Luna dun sa nag-yoga.
Sabi ni Juan Luna, ay nako, salamat. Tama na yung birthday. So, October 25.
Ay, nako. I bet you he thought, ay, nako, it's too humid in here. All these people breathing down my face.
On that note, that's all the time we have for the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.